Welcome to The Sacred Journey. The Sacred Journey is the program that reminds you that life is a wonderful adventure and each and every experience we have is a unique and perfect opportunity for learning. I'm Joyce St. Germain, and hopefully you will recognize tonight's guest, a dear friend of mine, Agneta Borstein. And our first topic, I'm saying first because she has kindly and graciously agreed to come and do a second show. Our first show is Collective Evolutionary Opportunities 2023. Now, Agneta is an astrologer, a shamanic practitioner, a teacher, author. You wear lots of hats, you wear them beautifully and so well, and I always love having you as a guest. So thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting me again, or did I invite myself? Because it's a pleasure to be with you, and it's also a good time to share the astrological language I usually say it in simplified forms. So the topic is, this is part one, and it's going to be part two, because once you start to look at the whole picture right now, collectively, we have a lot of good things we can do, actually, as you do your work, I do my work, but the collective is changing and it's shifting. And to me, it was we've been through quite a bit lately, which we might have known in 2019. It was 3 major cycles, but I decided that's then. Now we're moving on. And that's why myself and other astrologers are quite excited about 2023, because there is shifts. And those shifts, I like to say in simplified forms, because there is the two sides of the coin. I always say that, not political party. And by the way, I'm not politically involved. If I may say something, is because there is two sides to the coin and there's two sides to the planet. So I'm more like a humanitarian astrologer rather than the political and this or that. But it is quite exciting to look at springtime of 2023.
And clearly, what's going on is affecting the world, or the world is noticeably different, so that, well, I know you have explanations.
It's like this, that is it just our imagination? But I would like to say, you and I have known it for so many years, and there was the rumor about a new age, and we shifted, and we are still shifting. So I might repeat the year 2026. That's like tomorrow to me, because the move. So 2023 is that shift that we see the results. And therefore, in the collective, in this part one, will be about more the world at large, not just the country America, but the collective. We all, as individuals, I could call, we have some kind of responsibility for the now, so that 2026 promises that which is I want to share, because it's still strong, the planetary picture. So in part two, it will be more the personal collective, what you and I continue and Joyce continue to do during 2023 and the next few years. So I'm really excited about being able to not know how uncertain and powerful 2020 was. Old, let's start the new. And that new is a shift. Whatever we think when we read the news, let's turn that off. Let me share what I think.
And it's very promising to know that we don't have to keep living in the, oh my gosh, this was awful, this happened, it was terrible, it was awful, because like you said, that was then. We're moving on now, and we're moving on with some hope and some promise, and I'm going to even say enthusiasm and great expectations.
Yeah, because you might have noticed that, Joyce, in your practice, people are searching more than maybe even before the COVID, because now we got kind of woken up to something. There were 7 million people that died, and people are still dying with the earthquakes, the disaster, despair. And I don't want to say that some of your audience can have the shift of not knowing, but that's where, from the sky to earth, as my program would be, or my way of looking at it, we are here and we're still alive. And I'm sure you have noticed an increase with your students and your program. Astrology is just blooming like a little too crazy. There's like all over the internet. So we have been busy because people need something to hold on to.
Yeah.
Absolutely not just astrology, but we call sometimes those planets are those gods. The
Yeah.
gods have spoken and they're still speaking until 2026. But now we have that awareness of so many different ways of looking at climate change, the awareness of everything that comes through. So
Yeah.
that's my introduction to just being able to share that and feel it too, or noticing it.
And people are so much more receptive now. That's what I've noticed. There is a desire to learn and to be exposed to more things, and a receptivity is my favorite word to use, and
Beautiful.
growing and shifting along with things that are happening, and to get a deeper understanding of things, not a
Yeah.
superficial understanding.
Right. Yeah. That's how we could start about, I have some few slides. You and I can come back and converse. And we're going to see now if that works to share the screen. Do I start or just
Go
put me
right
in?
ahead. I think you're
Yeah,
able to
I'm going to try it. Good luck.
see if the planets lined
Yeah.
up in all the right ways for technology. I think this is going to
So
work.
yeah,
Okay.
hi again.
Perfect.
So so what we were saying about it is the collective in all of us. So that is an opportunity for us to perhaps take it little by little. March, I do this. March 8th, there is this planet, Saturn, that has caused quite a bit of constriction. I'm not going to go through all the keywords on your screen, some of you, and I just really welcome the astrologer students, but I have also noticed people know more astrology than they think. Joyce goes, do we? But
Yeah, not my
Saturn
field,
cycles,
but
yeah, it is a language, but it's a lot of interest in it because it has cycles, and part of that is Saturn is an earth sign and he is harsh sometimes. And now on March of 8th 2023, he will enter into Pisces, and Pisces in itself is of course the two-sided fish, spirituality or confusion. But Saturn is an earth sign. He has been for 5 years in the realm of control. If we look at the challenges, negative, defensive, control, government, and we had to confine ourselves at home, whether we confined and all that, but because he usually stays in one sign for 2.5 years, in Capricorn, 2020. Then he went into Saturn in Aquarius, that before we discovered Uranus in 1781. So we had a double yammy of what is going to happen. Is the government changes, we're not just talking about America, because the world has the same planets involved. But it is with great enthusiasm that we see some changes, enough of the control. Where are we controlling ourselves? Within ourselves. Saturn gets down to your bones and structures and your teeth. He's a teacher. So if we listen to the two sides of a coin that we talked about, then Saturn is about being here still. We survived. We got to get up and do what we have to do. It
is
can
he
be, go ahead.
sorry, is he or Saturn always referred to in the masculine?
No, well, they have that in the shamanic way, you know, they have forms. So he has more the control, as mother would be more the moon. Yes. So Saturn would be confined, you know, referred to as the father. But many times the father leaves and the mother becomes the father. So you
Yeah.
have different roles, and you have quite a few females, myself and maybe you including, that become independent females. So we take on Saturn and we don't let, quote unquote, the guy said, you know, sit down or stay up. We take our own role. So therefore, many of my colleagues or students might not like Saturn, but Saturn has become the principle of being here on Earth. And now when he goes into the water sign, they could be part of, some people can handle that shift because they might already be dependent on drugs and alcohol. They will escape more into an not a great and healthy picture the next 2.5 years, which does go into 2026. But on the other side of Saturn, there is passion, there's learning, patience. Saturn is father time. He's there for 2.5 years to get the vision of being Pisces in his realm of sharing his knowledge, his teaching. So the government is sometimes strong. I don't know how we feel about that. It's your own sense of responsibility. Turn off the news when it's too much, go within and be patient with this. There was a lot of visions, as when Joyce and her students and myself, when we go out of this world, we come back to this reality, which is a beautiful world still. We do find spaces still that we can enjoy on Earth, and that's Saturn, Earth, to not ignoring the 15 years, but is how we see it at, in our astrological world. And since I see you and you see me, I want to right away go into a very strong and important planet, which is Pluto. Pluto travels to the underworld, and he has been in this realm since 2008. And he's now shifting into Aquarius. He was in Capricorn. He goes into Aquarius on March 24th. In this picture that I have here, which I love, because Persephone, the maiden Persephone, are actually forced to the underworld. But in the underworld, they have to teach each other how to survive. So when we see this picture, if I see here, there's a little chicken, the harvest, water, the hope of survival. And look how many people are doing their own gardening in their backyard. And every springtime, Persephone is allowed to come up to meet her mother, Ceres, sorry, Ceres. She is the agriculture. She's the goddess of agriculture. So there's always that hope, especially the springtime of in March 20th, that there is something that is hope for renewal. So Pluto is already, but Pluto, most of the outer planet goes in and out. It's called retrograded. They go move forward, but then we don't get the message. So it goes backwards. But here it is that promise to move forward. And this image here is the first image of Pluto. I love this little heart.
Yeah,
I see a heart. I don't know what you see.
Oh,
but
yeah.
but the basic part of Pluto is not as often, and this is some keywords that I like to share too. He stays in one sign for 12 to 30 years, so he's very, very unpredictable. But his cycle is 248 years, which is big in the United States chart. But let's do some of those little words that helps, because he can be pretty deadly. But as soon as there's a birth, there has to be rebirth. He is scandalous. Secrets are relieved in the corruption of many governments. So there has to be cleansing on some kind of level. Corruption, we have to have faith in ourselves. Because what country is not corrupted? Not politically, but it's just confusing to hear. The Aboriginal, I'm reading now, there's something else, and the gold mine in it's just too much the way I see it. So it's not that I'm ignorant, I'm informed, but I try to say that there is a purification going on at the same time of awareness. And that is in some governments too. There's a certain obsession about the whole manipulation, and we have to be careful to not be manipulated into the control that Saturn has done for a while. He will always be giving us gifts when we deserve them. So the crime and all these different guns were invaded in China 1,000 years ago. It's like they got to go. But I don't, this all manipulation, which is a Pluto word too. My favorite word, which I don't have here, transformation, is definitely occurring. So now in 2023, when Pluto goes into Aquarius on March 24th, as astrology, we are excited about that. But he's going to take a little backward turns during the summer. Then he will come back again in the fall. He will be still in Aquarius, Capricorn. That's still those, ruler back of the mind with Saturn. However, November of 2024, end of November 2024, he will be in Aquarius. He will stay in Aquarius. For how long, I forgot right now. But then the other shift comes into that is so close to what we consider and has been ridiculed about a new era, ridicule about a new age. But you do see it more and more. I saw it in some kind of publicity or advertising too. So we have that. In that, we might still see, corruption and all that stuff, but there is still the promise of, my favorite word is, this is metamorphic time. That's why I called it an evolution. Revolution will happen, and that's my next planet that I will talk about, because there can't be a change, transformation. So therefore, my favorite word for Pluto is metamorphic. That's how strong time we are living in. And that's both difficult, but it's more exciting to be in this part. We have responsibility to recycle, to clear, to do what we have to do. Right, Joyce?
Absolutely. And I'm looking at this list of words, and I'm looking at the time frame going, that explains a lot, because I never remember the words on the left side being so prevalent and prominent in the news as and I'm looking at that time frame, December 2020, 2009 to 2024. And
look,
it's very eye-opening that there's been
a lot.
Not sure if I want to say explanation for it, but now it's like, aha, I get it now of why this is so prevalent.
And I couldn't resist to show you this chart that is the United States chart of America. I don't agree with their birth year. We were many Native American, as we know, but they claim that this is the birth time of the United States chart, July 4th, 1776.
I have a problem with that too, but okay.
Yeah, me too. I say it respectfully, but this is also the promise. This is why there were so many, never mind Pluto being the graveyard coming up with all the different schools that has been discovered. I don't like it. I'm sorry, but just a quick one because we are always running out of time and we have so much to share. So if we just quickly, some of you do know astrology, but that's why I pointed out these little eras here. This era, in 1776, this is the natal chart of America, and this is the now. So for 248 years, Pluto went boop, 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 around. And then he comes around and he did it very strong in 2023. He is strong in 2022. He is just as strong in 2023. And then see this degree from 0 to 30 degrees. Natal is 27. At the moment is 29. In 2024, it will go back to 28, and then boom, boom. In respect to Pluto, the cleansing has to occur. We pay more attention to our own little lives. My mantra has been, be selfish in an unselfish way so that we can take care of ourselves, family, friends, clients, and that gives us a new hope. A rebirth is going on. There is other things too, but I think I want to talk about two other planets that is also involved with this metamorphic time that we are experiencing.
Wow, that's so
Neptune,
interesting.
Neptune here, but I have that too. But this is very powerful. That is why it is metamorphic times. Everything from the secrets coming up, they can try to take away the history, all the different aspects of what we are going through, and try to hide. It's not possible. The writing is in the wall that things has to come out for a new birth. If that's going to take us to 2026 and beyond, we have faith. We can still enjoy our trees in our backyard. We can still take walks. But we should also have a cause. My passion is water. That's, we all have different passions, and we should be, that's the individual that I might share in the next segment. But it's a lot. But we don't get exhausted because we have get so used to it that we might have blindfolded with fear, with doubts, with personal experience that I might not always have been pleasant. So this is my take on it, and many other astrologers would say that there is a new era. We just have to be a little patient. So with that, I would like to make sure that I have these two other little planets, big planets. Uranus, the evolution, the earthquakes, all that stuff that is uncertain is certain that they have to happen. And he says Uranus is in one sign for 7 years, and that's an 84-year cycle. So then when we look at you and I and your audience, we are Uranian. We don't care. We have to get our point across with all the different, what I consider people that needs to be heard. What is that to be heard? It is anybody that has been put down for all the different, the police brutality, the whole thing about bisexuality and the LGBTQ community. The women are coming forth to be ourselves. Now that is over in 2026. That was pretty strong in the chart of the current earthquake in Turkey. That was an angle. Uranus is in Taurus at the moment until April of 2026. I'm not predicting any earthquakes, but the vulnerability, any type of eclipse, any type of unusual things will have to be, I don't want to say accepted, but with sympathy and empathy that things can still happen. I cannot stop it because on the other side, Nothing can stop evolution. Revolution has happened, did happen, will happen, but at the same time, the evolution is going on. Astrology rules Uranus. Joyce's work and what I do is Uranian. And people are taken to something different, as in, do we go to church? Nothing wrong with that, is respected. But now we might have the drum circle where people connect in a Unitarian way, different, connecting on a different ways. Do you have questions on that? Because that is a little
No,
bit of
like,
shake. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's eye-opening. It's a little mind-boggling. And
Yeah.
before we run out of time, I want to be sure that we get to your last slide, because as always, we just love
I
sharing
know.
your
We should
knowledge and
take like
information.
1 or 3 hour class.
Uh-huh.
No, I teach too and all that, but it's my pleasure to share it, because I might sound too enthusiastic. I don't sit here for nothing. We work, Joyce. Joyce, we work for these causes. We have known each other how many years? How many
30
years have we
something.
not been? Whew, I know. So now we have Neptune that went into Pisces in 2012 and will stay there until January 2026. Now, that's the whole thing with Saturn goes into Neptune March 8th as we speak. So that's part of trusting your own feeling, your own intuition. There is we are home watching the movies, if that's what you prefer to do. There is so many breakthroughs too with Uranus coming through with different discoveries. With different, we stay away from the doctors, but we respect them when we need them, because there's so much new alternative ways that we figure out by, God bless the doctors that are alternative now. We find this way by Neptune ruling medicine. It rules oils. And we see the Neptune trident, he is the water. And am I right or wrong that there is a concern in certain governments, clean the water? I could share you what I have followed for years, this little 19-year-old kid from Amsterdam or from Netherlands, vacuuming the waters. It got to be clean. He is the water. He is pretty upset about us. So we have this way of saying, the hope is the collective for all of us, but the individual responsibilities is a must. And that is, again, not just confusing, is Uranian, is your choice. And in that little Pluto planet, he's strong, yet give us that there has to be cleansing, because otherwise it will continue to be not clean, the waters. So that was my take on it. And I'm not naive. I stay informed as doing my work, but most astrologers are very excited about this coming new era of new energies coming through, as above, so below.
Well,
So I
we
might
are
just,
out of time,
yeah,
Agneta, so we're going to have to say goodbye. And I know we're going to continue on and do another show for our viewers, but I'd like to thank our viewers for joining us. We'll catch you next time. And Agneta, thank you so, so very much.
it's my
And
pleasure.
we will see you at the start of our next show.
Very good. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Joyce.